Welcome to Sinister Stories, where the shadows hold more than just secrets. If you're a fan of the dark and the twisted, you're in the right place. Tonight, we dive into a tale that will send chills down your spine. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss a single spine-tingling story. I started working the night shift at Chick-Fil-A because I got fired from Foot Locker for accidentally putting size 14 shoes on a toddler. Don't ask. Long story. Anyway, Chick-Fil-A seemed chill. Polite coworkers, clean floors, chicken that smells like it was hand-battered by angels. But I should have known something was off when the manager, Terrence, shook my hand and said, "Welcome to the family. You'll be working 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Alone." Alone? "Don't worry," he added. "We've got rules." He handed me a crumpled paper towel with a list written in red ink that smelled weirdly like Polynesian sauce. I laughed until he grabbed my shoulder and said, "If you break the rules, they'll know." I thought it was a joke, but I read the rules anyway. If the cows on the wall move, don't look at them. Pretend they aren't real. Refill the sauce dispensers at midnight. If you're even a minute late, the lights will flicker and something will crawl out of the fryer. If you hear someone say, "My pleasure," and you didn't serve anyone, run to the walk-in and lock the door. At 3:33 a.m., a customer will knock. Do not answer, even if they say they forgot their fries. Especially then. I snorted. "All right, Terrence, I'll bite." He didn't laugh, just walked away muttering, "Too many new hires feed the cows." My first shift started like any other. I mopped. I stocked napkins. I even made myself a sandwich, which I later realized tasted like feet because I used the wrong fryer oil. Rookie mistake. At exactly 11:59, I remembered the sauce thing. I hustled over and started refilling the barbecue, Polynesian, and Chick-Fil-A sauce containers. I was 1 minute late. Not my fault. I had to dig the packets out of a box labeled "Condiments do not open if it whispers." As I popped the last packet open, the kitchen lights flickered. Then they flickered again. Then the fryer hissed. It wasn't plugged in. I stepped closer, clutching a chicken strips box like it was a holy relic. Bubbles started to rise from the oil. And then, something long, wet, and clawed slapped against the fryer lid from the inside. I screamed. Loud. Like baby on a roller coaster. Loud. I ran back to the front, slammed the condiment drawer shut, and screamed, "All done! Sauce God, all done!" The fryer went still. I collapsed into a booth near the play place, catching my breath. That's when I noticed the cow poster. It had moved. It was supposed to be a happy cartoon cow holding a sign that said, "Eat more chicken." But now it was holding the sign over its head like a weapon, and its eyes were looking directly at me. I stood up slowly. "Nope, not today, Bessie." I walked backward toward the counter, not blinking, trying not to breathe. The moment I broke eye contact, I heard it moo. Not like a cute farm cow. I mean low, guttural, almost human-like, like someone mooing while being strangled. I screamed again. I'm not proud of it. I ducked behind the counter and crawled into the dry storage closet with my phone flashlight shaking like crazy. 1:44 a.m. I still had hours left, and that's when I heard it. My pleasure. Software. Friendly. Close. But I was alone. No drive-thru. No customers. No coworkers. "My pleasure," it said again. And then a third time. Louder. This time from inside the kitchen. I grabbed a broomstick, whispering every fast food menu item I could remember like a prayer. I bolted into the walk-in freezer and slammed the door shut. Something slammed back. Once. Twice. Then silence. I stayed in there until I nearly froze to death and my nipples felt like frozen gumdrops. When I finally crept out, the restaurant was dead silent. The fryer was still. The cow poster was back to normal, and the sun was rising. Terrence showed up at 4:03 a.m. sharp. "You survived," he said with a smirk, sipping from a cup labeled lemonade, blessed. I asked if anyone else had dealt with this. He nodded. Of course. But not all of them make it past Thursday. I looked at him. What's Thursday? He just smiled. That's the night the cow comes off the wall. So yeah, I came back the next night. Not because I'm brave, but because I'm broke. Rent doesn't care if the Chick-Fil-A cow tried to make eye contact with your soul. Terrence greeted me with his usual creepy calm. He handed me a sweet tea that tasted like regret and said, "You remembered to bring a spoon, right?" A spoon? He nodded, serious as a heart attack. "You'll need it tonight. Rule 6 kicks in." I looked at the greasy napkin where I'd scribbled the original rules. There were only 4. Terrence grinned. Exactly. Then he clocked out and left me in the building. Alone. Again. At 10:45 p.m. I did a full sweep of the place. Cow poster, normal. Sauce refilled early. Fryer unplugged and duct tape shut like it was a possessed rice cooker. I even taped googly eyes to it to throw it off its game. Ghosts hate googly eyes. Probably. Around 12:30 a.m., the ice cream machine turned on by itself, which, for the record, is impossible because it's never worked during daylight hours. Never. I walked over, and the machine started humming Amazing Grace in reverse. That's when I knew. I was not emotionally prepared for whatever the holy hell was happening tonight. I ran into the break room and locked the door. That's when I heard a moo, except it wasn't coming from the wall. It was coming from the ceiling. I looked up and saw one of the ceiling tiles bulging, like something heavy was crawling through the ducts. And that's when it hit me. The cow. It wasn't just watching anymore. I crawled into the hallway, clutching the stupid spoon Terrence gave me. I didn't know what I was supposed to do with it. Scoop evil? Stir salvation? At 1:33 a.m., the lights went out. All of them. And then the intercom kicked on with a loud pop. A voice whispered, "Eat more souls." I screamed, dropped the spoon, and ran straight into the play place. Terrible idea. I forgot how claustrophobic those tubes are. I got stuck halfway in, knees jammed between a plastic slide and a sticky corner that smelled like old chicken nuggets and regret. That's when I heard hooves. Not running, just clopping. Slow, deliberate. In the kitchen. I twisted around in the tube like a sausage in a sock, trying to see anything. Suddenly I heard the bell above the front door ding. But no one was scheduled to come in. And we're not open. Not to humans, anyway. I held my breath. "Hello?" a voice called out. I forgot my fries. My heart dropped into my socks. Rule 4, do not answer. Even if they say they forgot their fries. I didn't move. The voice got closer. "I know you're here. I just need my fries." Then it changed. Deeper. Hungrier. "I'm not leaving without them." Something stepped into the play place. I felt the plastic floor dip beneath me. I pressed my hands over my mouth to muffle the sob that was trying to escape. Then it stopped moving. Silence. For a full minute. Until it leaned in close and whispered through the tube. "My pleasure." I passed out cold in that play tunnel. When I woke up, the sun was rising. The fryer was leaking something dark and sticky. The cow poster was gone from the wall, like it had never been there. Terrence showed up at 4:03 a.m. sharp, holding a fresh chicken biscuit like it was a peace offering. He peered down at me, still wedged in the tunnel, and said, "You lost the spoon, didn't you?" I nodded. He sighed. "Hope you like Thursday." "What happens Thursday?" I groaned, still half-conscious. He tossed me the biscuit and muttered, "Thursday is when the drive-thru opens. For them." I came in Thursday night with a cross necklace, a super soaker filled with holy water, and a pair of adult diapers. I wasn't taking chances. The cow was gone, the fryer was moody, and now Terrence had me terrified of the drive-thru like it was some portal to deep-fried hell. Terrence greeted me with his usual caffeine-fueled serenity. "You remembered to salt the window, right?" "What window?" He just smiled and handed me a pack of sea salt and a single pickle in a Ziploc bag. I stared at it. "What's this for?" "Insurance," he said. "Don't eat it." Then he left me, once again completely alone, with a haunted fryer, a possessed cow, and the knowledge that something was going to try to place an order tonight. Something not on the app. I followed the instructions as best I could. I salted the drive-thru window frame, made a ring of waffle fries in the parking lot, and taped a tiny Jesus to the cash register. I even whispered an apology to the missing cow poster. I didn't know what I had done, but I figured it couldn't hurt. At exactly 12:06 a.m., the drive-thru monitor flickered to life. Static. Then, a voice. "I'd like one soul to go." I froze. The headset, which I hadn't touched, lifted off the hook and floated in the air like some invisible employee was taking the order. It crackled again. No pickles. Extra suffering. I backed away from the monitor slowly, holding the holy super soaker like a loaded gun. Then the order printer started spitting out tickets like crazy. Order. One soul. Toasted. No light. Customer name. Mr. Hoof. "Nope," I yelled, grabbing the headset and flinging it into the fryer. The oil hissed like it liked that. Suddenly, the red glow of taillights lit up the drive-thru. A black SUV rolled up, but I swear it wasn't driving. It was just gliding. No engine sound. No headlights, just vibes. Evil, awful vibes. The window rolled down, and inside wasn't a customer. It was the cow. But not cartoon cow. Not cute Chick-Fil-A mascot cow. This thing was tall, bipedal, eyes glowing like overcooked nuggets, wearing a red polo stretched too tight across its chest. Its name tag said, Moo Newell, and it was holding a Chick-fil-A bag soaked in something dark. It reached out one hoofed hand and tapped the salted window. Tap, tap, tap. Then it started licking the glass. Long, wet, slow licks, like a cow possessed by Satan's personal lunch lady. I did the only thing I could. I chucked the zip-locked pickle at the window. It screamed, a terrible high-pitched bellow that sounded like a kazoo being murdered. Then it vanished, just blinked out, and the SUV melted into the pavement like it was never there. Silence returned, except for the order printer, which printed one final slip. Order canceled, see you next shift. Terrence showed up holding his usual sweet tea and a mini Bible. Ah, you didn't get turned into a combo meal. Well done. I threw my arms in the air. What is this place? Is it cursed? Is it built on a sacrificial chicken farm? Did a waffle fry witch make a deal with the devil? He just sipped his tea. Corporate doesn't like us talking about it. Corporate? He nodded. There's a reason we're closed on Sundays. The shadows don't rest, and neither do we. Then he handed me a new list. Friday rules. I stared at the new list. Friday's rules were written in Sharpie on the back of a kid's meal coloring sheet. The cow on the page had fangs and was holding a juice box filled with what looked like blood. Neat. The rules were simple, which worried me more. If the nuggets start moving on their own, don't cook them. They've become self-aware. Don't mop the lobby between 1:11 and 1:19 a.m. The floor will fight back. If someone comes in wearing a Chick-fil-A Sunday shirt, lock yourself in the janitor's closet and hum the national anthem until the smell of cinnamon disappears. I didn't even know Sunday shirts were a thing, but apparently they're gray, cursed, and reek of cloves and generational trauma. Terrence, as usual, said nothing helpful. Just smiled, handed me a banana, and said, "Use this wisely." Then he left. I taped the banana to my belt like some potassium-powered talisman. No idea what it was for, but I wasn't going to question it. At 12:04 a.m., the nuggets began to wiggle in the prep tray. I backed away slowly. They wriggled, popped. One did a little jig. Another formed the shape of the Virgin Mary and flipped me off. I turned off the fryer and just let them be. I wasn't about to get possessed by poultry. Then I heard the floor squeak. I looked down. I'd spilled some lemonade earlier and was mopping it up without thinking. The time? 1:13 a.m. "Oh, come on!" I yelled, trying to yank the mop back. Too late. The floor rippled like water and pulled the mop down. It hissed. A bubble formed near the counter and popped, spraying me with warm Coke Zero. I fell backward and hit my head on a booth. When I looked up, the floor had words written in sticky sweet tea. "Stay down." I crab-walked backward like I was in some low-budget exorcism. But then, ding. The front door opened. We're not open. No one's scheduled. And, stepping inside, was a tall man in a gray Chick-Fil-A polo. He smiled way too wide. His teeth, too perfect, like they were printed by a 3D printer that only knew how to do serial killers. "Hello," he said. "You forgot my Sunday shift." I could smell him from the counter. Cinnamon, cloves, and something old, like potpourri and grave dirt. I booked it to the janitor's closet, slamming the door shut and turning off the light. I hummed the national anthem so fast it sounded like a remix. Outside, I heard his voice. "You can't hum forever." Then I heard him whisper sing, "It's a grand old flag," in a slow, chilling baritone. I nearly passed out. Then I remembered the banana. I pulled it off my belt and held it like a cross. For a second, nothing happened. Then the smell of cinnamon faded. Gone. Like magic. I opened the closet door slowly. Empty lobby. Sunday shirt freak? Gone. Banana? Brown spotted and humming with heat like it just fought a demon. I tossed it in the fryer and crossed myself. The nuggets were gone too. Not eaten. Just missing. I didn't ask questions. Terrence showed up with his usual sweet tea and a breakfast burrito. "Did you use the banana?" he asked, impressed. I nodded. "Yeah, it worked. Why?" He shrugged. "Honestly, I wasn't sure it would. I just ran out of pickles." Then he handed me a Chick-Fil-A cow plushie with its eyes sewn shut. "For Saturday," he said. I looked at the tag. It read, "Close on Sundays. Open for 1. "Who's 1? I asked. Terrence just smiled and said, "You'll meet him tomorrow." I showed up Saturday night already sweating. Not from heat, just pure, bone-deep dread. The plush cow Terrence gave me was strapped to my chest with duct tape like a teddy bear bomb, and I brought a rosary, a flashlight, and a Monster Energy in case things got really bad. Terrence was sipping his usual tea, flipping through an old Chick-fil-A training manual that smelled like sulfur. "You ready?" he asked. "Nope." "Good. You shouldn't be." He slid me a small bag labeled Sunday Survival Kit. Inside was a lighter, 3 waffle fries shaped like crosses, and a napkin that just said, "Do not speak to him unless he speaks first." Then he looked me in the eye and said, "If you hear someone at the drive-thru speaker tomorrow, on a Sunday, whatever you do, don't take the order. Just hit the breaker switch and hide in the sauce fridge. What if I miss it? You won't." Then he left. I survived until about 3:03 a.m. with no incidents. I even felt hopeful. Maybe I'd pass the trials. Maybe this was just a freaky hazing ritual for new hires. That's when every light in the store turned blood red. The fryer turned on. The cow plush on my chest started humming the Chick-fil-A jingle, but backwards. Its stitched shut eyes opened, and they were glowing. The drive-thru monitor turned on by itself. The screen flickered. And then I heard it. A voice. Not human. Not demonic either. Just wrong. Like a modem possessed by a preacher. "I'd like to order everything." I froze. The voice came again, louder this time and angrier. "Everything!" I ran to the breaker switch, but it was melted. Just a puddle of plastic and fried chicken grease. The plush cow screamed. The fryer belched black smoke and vomited up a single perfectly toasted bun. And then, the lobby doors opened. There he was, tall, pale, wearing a crisp white Chick-fil-A uniform. No face, no eyes, just a mouth that stretched from ear to ear, filled with teeth made of sugar cubes. He didn't walk, he glided. He hovered over the counter, leaned forward, and whispered, "You forgot my sauce." I panicked. I threw the waffle fry crosses at him. He caught one mid-air with his teeth and smiled wider. I grabbed the plush cow from my chest, held it up like a hostage, and screamed, "I don't know what you are, but your order's been canceled." The room shook. The ice cream machine exploded behind me. He hissed, "Closed on Sundays," but I was the first customer. Then I remembered the lighter in the kit. I lit it. The flame turned blue, and I lit the napkin. The napkin didn't burn. It sang. It chanted some unholy verse that sounded like a gospel choir fighting a metal band. The one screamed. The red lights shattered. And then, he vanished. Gone. The fryer turned off. The cow plush went limp. Silence. Terrence showed up at 4:03 a.m. sharp with a filet biscuit and zero emotions. "Congrats," he said, patting my shoulder. "You made it." "What the hell was that?" He sipped his tea. "The one who orders. Corporate doesn't like us talking about him. He was the very first customer. Came in on a Sunday before the rule was written." "So what now?" Terrence smiled. "You're promoted." "To what?" He tossed me a new name tag. Manager. "But I don't want this job," I said, shaking. "You think I did?" He laughed, walking out the door. "Enjoy the tea. You'll need it." As he drove away, I looked at the cow plush. Its stitched eyes had closed again. But now, its smile was just a little wider.